In Illinois, you've been waiting for quite a while to make your comments. Go ahead. We're going to go through Jeff, and then we're going to go to Kevin, Doug, Brandy, try to get all of you in this short segment. Go ahead, Jeff in Illinois.
Thanks, Ms. Corey. David, we love your work.
Thank you.
Agenda 21, would you agree that its Achilles heel would be if people could make their own electricity easily, quickly? They could make their own electricity for cars, hydrogen, greenhouses, everything.
Well, certainly getting off of the grid is a very empowering thing. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, Gerard Morin, M-O-R-I-N, YouTubers, and the quantum electric generator have broken the code. Anybody can go out there and start a business, making their own electricity, make their own greenhouses. If you have your own food, you have your own way to make water out of the air. You have your own way to desalinate. You have your own way to do transportation. This is their Achilles heel. You could even make synthetic diamonds out of methane and electricity and create your own currency locally. We could get rid of all governments if people would just wake up to the fact you can turn your drain pump from your washing machine into an electrical generator.
Absolutely. It's that dependency, isn't it? And they want to make us ever more dependent on them, whether it's artificial intelligence, as I mentioned earlier in the program. They see that the brains of these taxi drivers studying this complex map actually get much larger as they're doing it. But the opposite happens as well. If we don't use our minds, they atrophy and die. If we don't use our freedoms, they atrophy and die as well. It's a good point that you're making. Learn how to do things self-sufficiently at a local level. That's a very empowering thing for you personally, but it's one important way to shut down this control grid that they've got. Thank you for holding, Jeff. Let's go quickly to Kevin in Michigan. Kevin, go ahead.
Hey,
go ahead,
how you doing?
Mm-hmm, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm doing great. Hey, Rosa, I had a question for you. Recently, we've had a long-standing farmers market over 10 years that all of a sudden bureaucratic council's taken over and making people apply to be able to basically be a vendor.
Everywhere you look, Rosa's no longer with us, but everywhere you look, government is shutting down just the simplest types of entrepreneurship, the simplest types of trying to be independent. There was a story in this snowstorm in New Jersey where they had a couple of teenagers who, instead of sitting around watching Xbox when the snowstorm hit, they handed out flyers and said, we'll shovel your driveway for X amount of money. Somebody called the cops on them, and the cops came in and said, you need a $400+ license in order to do that. And by the way, that's only good for 180 days. I mean, they don't want anybody to have any kind of self-independence. That's why you need to get active at the local level. The best way that you can fight this is at the local level, and farmers markets are a great way because the whole system is really set up to screw the farmer as well as the consumer. And if you can eliminate that massive infrastructure, go direct to get your food, that helps the local farmer. It gets you better quality food that's not loaded with preservatives, and it helps to keep people working in your area. Let's go quickly to Doug in Oregon. Doug?
Hey, David, thanks for taking my call.
Yes.
First the bad news, then the good news, and I'll make it quick. I'm a producer for cable access television out here in Oregon, and I've been in these meetings for about 3 or 4 years, public meetings. And I got to tell you, there is nothing being changed in Oregon. Zero change, same people elected, same agenda goes forward all the time. Now, we have vote by mail in Oregon, as you probably know, and I think it's an absolute fraud. And I think until Oregon wakes up and changes that vote by mail, we are not changing anything at the local level and probably at the higher state levels as well. This is what I'm seeing. So I just wanted your thoughts on that, David, because I know you're having success in Texas. Alex talks about it, but in Oregon, we have no success at all.
The election system is very rigged. There's a number of ways that they can do it, from the kind of voters they have to the custody being violated of the votes, the way that it's reported. We saw that in the caucuses for Ron Paul. We saw the massive corruption, even within the Republican Party, let alone the general election. So there's a lot that needs to be done about that. The key thing, again, is creating an awareness of the problem before you can solve it with enough people. That's it for today's show. Join us tonight at 7 Central for the InfoWars Nightly News.
You pick up the receiver with your heart racing.
War on Terror in 2011 by implementing White House and State Department under Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and the State Department under Hillary Clinton changed sides in the War on Terror. In 2011, changed sides in the War on Terror in 2011 by implementing White House